The word multitasking was created when desktop computers came out. What they do is just like our minds, we just bounce very quickly back and forth
Yeah.
between things. You could have a cup of tea and pull up Netflix, or you could just have a cup of tea. And with that mindfulness, that experience give you more gratitude because you're present in the moment.
Mental health, emotional health, physical health, deeper understanding, actionable takeaways to improve your quality of life. We're the Level Up guys.
Even guys can have emotionally literate conversations, and we're the guys that are going to prove it.
I mean, how many people in the world don't have access to clean water? Millions and millions and millions of people.
Yeah, sanitized water, I remember learning, is like one of the biggest like societal upgrade elements that kind of indicate, or that indicated like a change in certainly in health and kind of life longevity and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think mindfulness also too would somehow like weave its way into this conversation. Like yogically, if you were to sit down to a meal, and you were a true yogi practitioner, you would eat very mindfully, and you would eat with a twinge of sadness and melancholy because you'd be aware of all of the people in the world that aren't so fortunate that can't eat that, and instead of taking like a whole handful of cashews and stuffing them in your face, you would eat one at a time and taste that cat and appreciate, wherever it came from, the person who picked it,
Yeah. You're talking, it seems like you're talking about almost when you think of like people saying like being present in the moment with mindfulness, it's almost like what I'm hearing you say is that, but also like being present um like almost in a timeless way, right? Like this cashew includes like where it was grown, the person that picked it, like all of those things, and having gratitude in this like almost way that's not bound by time and like in this moment kind of thing,
Yeah.
while still being present. It's like, yeah, actually, I don't know if it's the difference between like having presence versus being present or something. Yeah, I don't know, but
Yeah.
that's what that made me think of. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm having awareness and like great appreciation for, how would you view an orange if you were on a pirate ship for 3 years and suddenly you landed on an island and you had an orange for the first time? I
Best
mean,
thing in the world.
oh
Yeah.
yeah, like you'd like, oh my goodness, this is the most amazing thing ever.
My
And
scurvy's going away.
yeah, exactly. But we could so easily, I could just go eat an orange, no big deal, and just
Right.
like eat it as I'm watching things and doing 15 other things.
Yeah.
I think that's another place where mindfulness and gratitude might overlap is, how many things are you actually doing at one time?
Yeah.
Because our brains multitasking is actually a fake belief. Our brains can't multitask. The word multitasking was created when desktop computers came out. It was part of their marketing to say they could like run multiple programs at once. But that's not
Yeah.
true. What they do is just like our minds, we don't run multiple programs at once. We just bounce very quickly back and forth
Yeah.
between things. There's no real, we can manage things like walking and chewing gum and breathing and doing that all at the same time, but you can't
Right.
text and drive. You can't. You're doing one or the other, and your brain might be going super fast back between the two, but you're
Yeah. Yeah.
actually like multitasking. So if you were to sit down and have a cup of tea, you could have a cup of tea and pull up Netflix and be doing that, or you could just have a cup of tea. And with
Yeah.
that mindfulness, that experience give you more gratitude because you're present in the moment, right? And that
Yeah.
one task, that one thing you're doing, like you'd feel the warmth of the cup, you know?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm back to that word savor, right? Like you're savoring something that is bringing joy or potential awe, right? And in a very purposeful way. And again, it's like that adding a certain meaning to a routine or to something that you're doing, right? It's creating a ritual out of it by adding meaning, adding significance, and
Yeah.
that savoring, that honoring of like you know the like, because when what we bring our attention to, that is a way of, or like even subconsciously, like that places value on it, right? If our attention goes somewhere, that kind of subconsciously places value on that thing where our attention went. Um, and so when we choose to place value on, and, and our attention on the warmth of the cup and the taste of the tea, and how it makes our bellies feel when when they fill up with this kind of warmth. Yeah, I mean, all of those things are things that we then can be grateful for, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
It's amazing to think like a few hundred years ago, imagine like I was with like my caveman wife, right? Cave wife, I guess they would call it back then. So I went out hunting for meat. I was gone for a week, right? And you were back at the homestead, maintaining the fire and foraging, collecting berries. I killed an elk with my spear. It was 300 pounds. So it took me another week to get all the meat back, right? You smoked it, or she smoked it and hung it up and dry and salted it and dried it. And then we had a meal, right, with our family. We cooked it over the fire. We had our elk meat and our berries. Would you have more gratitude for that meal than if you drove through McDonald's and just got whatever? Okay, 100% you would.
Yeah.
It's the curation of like, where did this come from? Where's the,
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
the impetus behind what we're doing? Because there's no reason you have the same feeling like going through the drive-through. You get a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, it just
Right.
showed up there.
Yeah, same with like if vegetables that you grow in your garden versus even pick up at the grocery store, right? Even if you
100%.
drive, even if you are maybe riding your bike or walking to the grocery store, you're still putting in some effort, right? But to have facilitated the transformation of something, we're kind of back to that, full circle. Like we were talking gratitude for when we see people or when we facilitate people's transformation into this kind of new version of themselves. So there's something about growing our own food or maybe hunting or whatever, where like facilitating this transformation of something into sustenance. That, yeah, I think like almost automatically or inherently creates an additional layer of gratitude that maybe is kind of anciently wired into us, as you're pointing out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not for everyone. I mean, someone like might not care at all about the freshly picked tomato, and that's okay. But then
Yeah.
they have their own arena. They have their own thing that they're interested in that makes them feel like they're super grateful for like the new comic book that came out or whatever. I have zero interest in it. But for them, like this is a big deal. They're grateful for the artists and the invention of pens and art and all of the stuff. Like if you're super into it.
Yeah. Well, and something that I learned about gratitude recently was finding one of the ways to find gratitude is to get as specific and this is kind of what you're saying, to get as specific as you can about what what is bringing you joy, right? So I like the example that you just gave of like, it could be this comic book and the artist and the invention of pens, right? And like all of that stuff. So the more honed in you get, which I think takes practice. It may not come to people intuitively, but certainly with practice, like there is a logical sequence of what you had just said, right? Really looking at like, okay, there is when we get into the details and get beyond just kind of a broad, this is nice, that's when we, I think, start to feel gratitude or kind of create it.
Yeah.
What are some of the what are some additional gratitude practices that you have in your life or that you have had in your life?
That's tricky. I'm not really good at having I would say sustainable and consistent routines of things that I do all of the time, unless it's a structured thing like a class that I'm going to or something that I do.
I think that counts though.
It's more of me, like I have like a ton of sticky notes. I'm a big fan of sticky notes, all colors. I got a whole wall over there. I look like a psycho person but it's like a reflection of my internal thoughts. And these are just like daily reminders of like in little ways and little stories and little books and little song lyrics or little things, little snippets you've shared with me, whatever it is. Like I'm a big fan of that. Having like a visual thing, right? Even if I know it deeply, and even if I believe it inherently, like I have to have like having things written down is a big one for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And being able to, as I go back, I mean, I always go back to being able to move my body and do things, you know, I'm super grateful for it. For example, like I like sitting in lotus pose, you know, we have your legs crossed like that way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We don't do it in class at the studio. You know, I just do it on my own, and I don't meditate like that, but I enjoy being able to put my legs in that position because it's a reminder of like, man, my healthy ankles and my knees and my hips and my flexibility and all these things are really worked on. So it's like a physical reminder of that. Yeah. Even riding a motorcycle, I think it's more of, you know, the practice of riding. Like I have a mantra before I ride, and the practice of riding makes me grateful for like all the classes that I've taken and the time that I've spent, and you know, grateful that I discovered something that I really love to do as a passion.
Yeah.
All of that. Yeah. So for me, it's like a lot of sticky notes.
Yeah.
You know, and really noticing when I'm doing things with my body, you know, that I'm able to do those things with my body. Because for a lot of my life, I couldn't do those things with my body. I mean, we used to, you know, play in a band together. We would practice in the basement of my house, and I was like limping around with back pain, and my stomach didn't hurt. And all, so like, if you go through like challenging times and you have perspective, then oh wow. Even just recently, I shared with you personally, I can share it on here. I had a little bit of a scare with skin cancer. And part of the scare was as I went in for a test, and for one reason or the other, 9 months later, I got the results. And that kind of freaks me out a little bit. So I had a little moment where it was
long time to wait. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I know there's like kind of low on the levels of like different cancers and illnesses you could get. But I had a little moment where I'm like, man, I better make sure that I'm like living my best life all the time, because I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. This is how it happened. Like that reminder. Sometimes those scary things, maybe not challenging things, but scary things can give us perspective to be like, oh yeah, what am I really complaining about? You know, this stupid thing over here, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how many hundreds of thousands of people won't wake up tomorrow? And if we do, here's a question. I heard this somewhere, and I asked my yoga students sometime.
Yeah.
If I were to say to you that I'd come over to your place tonight and I'd give you like a briefcase with $50,000, you'd probably be pretty psyched to have that, right?
I think I heard this very thing like within the last week. I don't know. I don't remember where, but
so good. Yeah. You'd probably like, give me the money.
Oh yeah.
Great. But the contingency is like you only had one more day to live.
Yeah. You don't wake up tomorrow though, or something like that.
Right. Would you take the money? No.
Yeah.
Right. So we just created a value of waking up tomorrow is
worth more than
what, $1 million, $1 billion, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you can open your eyes in the morning and be like, that's a little bit of good news.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you shared that. I had forgot about hearing that, but yeah, it's right. There are some really interesting ways to like check on your value system. Right. Yeah, no, that's beautiful. Don't you have some kind of morning routine or ritual that, and maybe I don't know if it incorporates gratitude, but I feel like it definitely incorporates mindfulness, and I don't know, is there something there?
Yeah, incorporates a lot of things. So I do. It's a very intentional ritual. So what I've done over the years is I've taken little snippets of motivational videos that I found. Like I'll screen record somebody saying something, and then I'll go in and I'll create, I think it's a 14-minute long video, which is just like bang, 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 things that resonate with me, motivate me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I lie on the floor and I have dog treats in one hand, cat treats in one hand. I lay on the floor and I stretch out, and my cat Ellis comes over, lays on my chest, get cat treats, and my dog's over there. And we for 14 minutes, we're just there together, like getting ready for the day. I can feel his like purring on my chest.
Yeah.
Which is really good for your body, frequency of cat purrs. We'll get into
Yeah.
that some other time. But that's a ritual to like set myself up, because again, my brain can go very easily to like the negative thing that might happen later on and blah 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 and down in the pipeline that I can
Yeah.
like ruminate.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah.
thing about physical fitness too, is I think it's easier. You know, the University of Australia 2 years ago did a research study, and it was the biggest study ever done on this topic. There was over 1,000 trials and over 125,000 participants. And
Wow.
it was about the correlation between exercise and anxiety and depression.
Mm.
And the results were pretty shocking. Is that physical exercise of any sort, swimming, walking, running, yoga, physical exercise is 1.5 times more effective in treating the results of anxiety and depression than talk therapy or pharmaceutical medications.
Yeah.
And it made
believe
total
it.
sense to me, because I know that if I'm having something going on, like I can just sit and ruminate and it gets more and more and more and more. If I go for a walk and even just simply going for a walk, like things are better.
Yeah.
Things are better.
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you know, back to kind of ancient cavemen times, right? We were constantly having to be out in fields or, growing or hunting and gathering and things like that. And so our wiring started to reward us for survival behavior, right? Which included exercise,
Yeah.
some form of exercise or being, um, you know, regularly active, and like it was for survival. And so we start to get, so that we do more of that, we start to get dopamine. When we do that, we start to get all of these other neurochemicals that make us want to move towards that. And I think a big part of where depression and anxiety comes from in our society is that we're not doing that. And so we're not getting those chemicals. In fact, we're getting other hormones and chemicals that are trying to signal us that there's something missing that is inherent to our, not only physical survival, but psychological survival. Right. And so, yeah, I mean, one thing in terms of gratitude that I have really tried to hone in on is being grateful for any parts of me that show up, right? And any uncomfortable emotion or discomfort or hard conversation or things like that, because I try to think of them as signals indicating something for me to look at, or for me to, some action step that needs to be taken either towards or away from something. And so one thing that's really helped me shift, just shift a lot as a person and transform, has been to see my sadness and anger and, anxiety, fear, all of these things as something that I can be grateful for, right? All of my defense mechanisms, the things that, one of my gratitude practices, I would say, is the therapy that I'm in. I'm a therapist in therapy. We said, I think at the very beginning when we started recording podcasts, and I'm in a certain style called internal family systems, and we'll do another episode on different therapy styles and stuff like that. But essentially, I am looking and interacting with parts of myself that are getting activated from these old, childhood born burdens of like protective strategies from when my system was overwhelmed, and they're still trying to do their thing, like not as helpfully these days, but they are still trying to protect me. And when they show up, part of my work is to offer them my acknowledgement and gratitude and compassion for, one, functionally helping me get through moments that overwhelmed my system at some young point in my life, and acknowledge that they have, even sticking around, it's in good intention to protect me now, even though it may be less functional. And so a lot of what I am doing is developing new relationships with these parts that include gratitude and compassion, and they start to soften, and they start to, speak the language of here's what I'm actually signaling once they receive it.
Mm.
Right. Rather
Yeah.
than like I'm engaged in a behavior that like, is some kind of pattern, or I'm in an interaction that is some kind of, pattern that I don't want to be in my life. Like
Yeah.
not always getting the signal of what that is, trying to teach me or trying to, point my flashlight towards. But once it's offered some gratitude and compassion, it softens and then is able to speak a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah. I similarly, otherwise, I require some structure to have consistency, but I tried to do a gratitude journal and made it last for a little while, but it started to fade over time, and I haven't done it. So that was something that there's a lot of evidence for. In terms of improving, mental health, even physical health, emotional health, um, and I heard, one is like one thing I heard is even if you write in it once a week, right, and kind of really spend that time savoring what it is that you're writing about, there's value there. And then another thing I heard with gratitude journal is like if somebody wants to challenge themselves, like every day, 10 things. And it's like you start to feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna run out of things. But it forces, if you're, willing to challenge yourself intentionally, it forces you to really get into the details rather than just being like, today was nice, right? Which is what we talked about before.
Yeah. I found a great new app.
Mm.
Because I struggle to journal. I got 18 brand new notebooks and fun pens and struggle to do it. It's called Audio Diary.
Cool.
And it's an AI based app. So you talk into it, and then AI will like give you like an outline of what you said, what your goals are, what you're going to do, give you a little bit of feedback. It's excellent. It's really
cool.
Yeah.
Audio diary.
Audio diary. Yeah, I find it much easier to just like talk and just be like, well, today this is what happened. Blah 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 blah. I got frustrated with this, and this was amazing, and blah blah blah. Disappointed I didn't turn the cold water on. And then it'll,
Yeah.
over the course of time, it'll like give you more like intelligent feedback on that.
Cool. Should reach out to them to sponsor our podcast. We'll shout them out every time.
Yeah. It's really exceptional for the ADHDers out there. It's 100%. It's spot on.
These guys.
100%. Oh, it's spot on.
Yeah.
That's how I discovered it. I was watching content on that, and somebody recommended it. I was like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Should we offer up some like different prompts for people to kind of find their gratitude?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's go. What do you got?
So we talked about how gratitude, can be a savoring of joy and awe. So, let's start kind of simple. Like, where was I the last time that I experienced awe? Right? Was I at the top of a mountain? Was I, somewhere in nature? Was I standing across from my romantic partner, or looking at my kid, or, things like that? So that can be a time where you explore where moments of gratitude might show up. Another one that comes to, that I was thinking about is there a part of my daily routine that is important to my well-being, right? Where I can give myself gratitude for engaging in this daily practice or this daily routine. Another one that comes to mind is what's a part of myself that I haven't given proper appreciation to in the last few weeks, that I haven't, explicitly thanked for showing up, for myself, or, in some capacity. So yeah, what's a part of myself that I haven't properly thanked recently? And then the other one was similar to this little narrative that you offered. But if I found out that I was going to die in 10 hours, who would I want to know that they've been an important, meaningful part of my life, regardless of the current state of our relationship? Right? To kind of show me like, okay, who's been meaningful parts of, like, who would I want to know this, even if I didn't have to tell them, but if I could just snap my fingers and they would know who shows up. Right.
That's a great practice. Wow. Yeah. Those are great ideas. I love it.
Yeah. So those are some starting points. Yeah. If people have gratitude practices or prompts for gratitude that they like, you should leave them in the comments, wherever you can.
Love it.
Yeah. We should, I think as we're are you feeling like we're winding down?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So we got to give some gratitude to Mo. And Mo is our project manager slash producer. He's behind the scenes guy of the Level Up guys. He's a Level Up guy, but not on camera, not on microphone. But he's doing his thing and making it so that we can bring this to you. So thank you, Mo, for showing up for us and believing in the message.
Right on. Yeah, I'm grateful for you and having you as a friend, and for having technology. We can put all this stuff out for free. Oh my goodness.
Mo, here's another layer. Mo, I'm grateful to you for quitting the band as a bassist because it introduced me to Bill, who replaced you. There's a little background story for everybody. Yeah. Anyways, cool. All right. Love you all. Keep at it, and let's be grateful and level up together.
All right. Till next time.
Sounds good.
That's it for today, you guys. Make sure to follow us. You can find us on all the major platforms. If you really like what you heard, maybe share it with a friend, share it with a buddy, maybe share it with an enemy, because we all need a little bit of love. We're going to level up together. See you next time.